Thanks for staying on for just a few more moments. It's hard to believe, but it's been 10 weeks since the last time that we were able to gather here in the sanctuary and over in the fellowship hall as a church family. As the weeks go by, we long all the more for the day. Will that day come when we can finally gather again safely? Your staff and your board are committed to working diligently towards this end. As sustained progress continues in containing the virus, our hope is that we can reopen the church and we can regather in worship sometime in the month of June. Now, that prospect really excites me, and I know that it excites many of you as well, but it also carries heavy responsibility to reopen thoughtfully and safely. This is our commitment. We want to do this work on your behalf. As your pastor, I also want to ask something from you. Please, please, please be so very careful and discerning about when it's right for you and your family to come and gather in a larger group, especially if you are among the vulnerable to this virus. We miss you. We want you to be with us, but we want you to be safe even more. Online worship services will continue indefinitely, so no one is going to miss out. So please, please, please be safe and make the best decision for your family. Now, we have some information that we want to pass along to you, so I'm going to pass off to Elaine Kimzey, who is going to give you an overview of our criteria for reopening, and then Lindy Nelson-Paryag is going to describe our expectations, or what you can expect when we reopen.
I'm one of those high-risk people, so I'll be at home on Sundays. If I were to go out, my kids would yell at me. I don't want to end up in an ICU bed when other people might need it, and frankly, I'm tired of being sick. So I'll be home until we have a good vaccine, until we have a good medicine, or until we have herd immunity. So I'll be going to church online for quite a while. However, everyone is not high risk, so we're making plans to open, and we're hoping that day comes soon. First, we need to decide how we will know when the time is right to open, and these are the things we considered. As folks get out, the number of infections will go up in a second wave, third, and more. But how big are the waves? That's the question. If people follow precautions, those will be little waves. If they don't follow precautions, they're going to be big waves, maybe giant ones that could overcome everything. Economy, health, everything. That's the way viruses behave, especially new ones. On the other hand, there are families that are in serious distress right now, having lost income, jobs, maybe having trouble buying food, paying the rent, buying medicines, and stress levels are skyrocketing. We have to pay attention to these things. We need to balance these two sets of concerns. Safety from a highly infectious disease on one hand, with economic crisis and emotional crashes on the other. So first, we must continue to operate in a way that protects the most vulnerable in our community from infection. Second, we must continue our ministries and missions in creative ways that don't unnecessarily add to community distress, economically or health-wise. Here's what we've decided. To open up when we've had 14 days of declining or flat infection rates in the Houston area. We're hoping that will be soon. We're also planning how to open, and Lindy will explain what that's going to look like. Thanks.
We are so excited to have the family together again for worship at Kingwood Christian Church. And we wanted to share with you some of the things that we're planning so that you'll be prepared if you come to worship when we're able to open up the church safely again. First thing is that everyone will need a mask to come to worship. And if you don't have one, we'll have someone greeting you at the door and have one to share with you. You'll notice when you come into the sanctuary that we'll have every other pew roped off, and we will have spaces for families and individuals to sit that are socially distanced apart. Families will be able to sit together that live together, and will distance from there. We're still working out the details for how we'll do communion, but it will be some kind of a self-contained communion that you will pick up most likely as you come into the sanctuary. We won't be passing any communion trays. We also will not be passing any offertory plates, so we'll have an offertory place where you can put your offerings when you're here. You might be wondering about music. The great thing is at Kingwood Christian Church, we have so many wonderful musicians. Our choir will continue to take a break until it's safe for them to come back together and sing. And our congregation will not be able to sing hymns together during the worship service, so we'll be enjoying our music through special numbers. Our beautiful narthex will just be a pass-through space. We will not be congregating here and having any kind of coffee or donuts. And as far as the restrooms go, if it's possible not to use them, that would be preferred, but we know that we need to let people use the restrooms. So the men's restroom will be one at a time, the women's restroom will be two at a time. It may seem like a lot of rules, but we're trying really hard to make the best worship experience that's the safest for all of our members and staff. So we thank you for understanding the expectations when we do come back together to worship, and thank you for your understanding and your grace as we work through this together.